Hey folks, Kilt-Man here, Kilt-Man at your services. How are you all? Hope you're all doing very, very well. Now, if I let out a little yelp throughout this video, it's because my back is still hurting. And although sitting in a sort of hard back chair is actually, the most uncomfortable of seating arrangements, it's actually better for your spine. I mean, you guys probably know that anyway, but because my lumbar region's been done in the last couple of days, it's getting better. But what I tend to forget is if you sit down for a while, you think sitting down and resting would be good for you, but if you sit down for a while, it begins to seize up on you. So when you make a sudden movement, it suddenly reminds you, like, wow, I'm still here, don't forget about me. And you make noises that a grown man should never actually make. But let's see how we go through this, and I hope and pray I don't elicit one of those horrible little yelps of pain and anguish. Now, this video is about something which has just arrived. And it was a mystery thing because I didn't even know it was coming, and it just turned up addressed to Kilt-Man. A lot of things turn up addressed to Kilt-Man, and addressed to the Kilt Mansion as well. But luckily our post office knows exactly where to go. And it's something glossy and ghoulish and gory. Yes, we're in our province. It's nastiness, it's horror, it's great. And this came courtesy, as I swiftly learned, from our good friend and great channel contributor, Astradyne. Your friend and mine, Astradyne. A traveller in time, Astradyne. He has a real name, I ain't going to say it just yet. And the reason why I know it's from him is because he sent these things to me before. And it is the Dark Side Guide. There's lots of Dark Side guides right now, and I think he sent me all of them so far. This is the latest one. What's the Dark Side, Kilt-Man? The Dark Side is a UK horror publication. It's been going on for many, many moons now, run by my mate, Alan Bryce. Illustrated fantastically with lots of gory, saturated, sexy, sleazy pictures, and also artwork by the great and equally nasty and sleazy Rick Melton. I love you. And these are great guides. The Dark Side's been going, as I say, for a long, long time. It's a magazine, it's a periodical, and they have done these one-off publications which gained momentum of their own, and suddenly now there's more and more and more coming out. And long may it continue. I'm just waiting for the chance to contribute something myself. You never asked me, Alan. You never asked me. I don't know why. So this one here, now I've got the ring light on, and that will pose problems. So I'm going to have to try to angle this so you can see things properly. Because in a little trial run before, I turned the ring light off. I've got a lamp here, and I've got the light overhead. But it's so dark and overcast, and it's pissing down as well, which you can probably hear in the background. It's just so shadowy and gloomy, but it probably adds to the effect. But I'm going to have to angle this so you don't get that horrible ring light reflecting on the glossy, ever so washable, wipeable pages. Here it is, folks. Stalking Pictures, the Dark Side Guide to Slasher Movies. And there's wonderful Rick Melton artwork there. And it's actually really, really good artwork. And he's resisted the temptation to put massive heaving cleavages, huge scamel wheel nut nipples on all the ladies, and lots of Rudy bits. He's been quite genuine. But look at the artwork on that. Look, there's Freddy having a big grin there. We have Norman Bates, and if you look closely, you can see the rictal element of the skeletal teeth there from his mother. Right. As I say, there's been many of these books covering classic horror monsters, Amicus movies, Hammer movies, horror on television, vampires, werewolves, something like that. There's a slew of them, and they're all over the mansion at the moment. So I was going to get them all out and put them all in a big arrangement, but I thought that's going to just completely implode the ring light, and none of us would see a damn thing. It'd just be like supernovas. One of them magic eye things. The more you stare into it, the more you might see something resembling the Kilt-Man with what looks like a giant spider sitting on his head. Just adjust that again there. I've got to get some new recording equipment. This all singing, all dancing Oppo phone, which they promised me is exactly what you need. Storage wise, it's fantastic. And if you do it in 4K, it's fantastic. But if you do a video in 4K, as I've learned, it will take you probably 24 hours to upload the son of a bitch. So time is of the essence, you know. So let's just persevere. But anyway, so slasher movies, we know and we love them. I've compiled a playlist which runs for 81 minutes of themes and cues from great slasher movies and stalk and slash stuff from the dawn of this genre taking place, which this book does cover. Right, so more fantastic illustrations on the inside. Look at all this. Yeah, look at Freddy, Jason, Chucky, obviously Michael. Best wishes from Alan Bryce there. Now, the way you find out exactly who's setting this to you is there's a word of thanks, double page spread, and all these names are people who have clearly, ordered this and made the project come to light and fruition. And perusing through this, Astradyne is there, not under A for Astradyne, but under his real name, which I won't say right now. So yeah, Astradyne, mate, thanks very much. Really appreciate this. I haven't bought a copy of The Dark Side. Oh, Alan's going to go mad now. For ages, mainly because Astradyne sends it to me, and it's become, even though I see the new one come, I want that. I know it's going to come as well. So, right, okay. Grab yourself a slice, and there she is, Laurie Strode, Queen final girl of Stalk and Slash. Let's not talk about the new movies of Halloween, although they will feature in this. By the way, I've only just had a very cursory look through this, but we're going to go through it. The pictures and illustrations are incredible, and there seems to be a great big write-up about most of these movies, and the overviews, reviews, and just opinion from, I think, a variety of contributors. The burning. Oh, look. Oh, the she is in the throat. Ugh. Most of these films I'll probably talk about, I've covered already on the channel a lot. So I might be regurgitating stuff. Imagine him regurgitating stuff. Grass cuttings, a bit of branch work, and obviously some metal shavings. The Psycho legacy. So we begin with Psycho. This is where they're putting out their stall. Stalk and Slash movies arguably began a lot earlier. Back in the 30s, you had Agatha Christie style whodunits where people are being picked off one by one in ghostly mansions. So, 10 little Indians, 10 little wasn't Indians to begin with, but you know what I'm talking about. So you've actually had, a lot of these mystery whodunits, which of course is the Giallo, the Italian variant, which actually became one of the catalysts for Stalk and Slash becoming a genre in its own right. In the late 50s and early 60s, you had lots of Italian Stalk and Slash movies, Giallos, where the masked killer, the gloved-handed killer, would finally be unveiled at the end, Scooby-Doo style. Then you'd add in more sex and more violence, be more graphic, more explicit. And then you had the likes of Halloween, which would come on, and Friday the 13th, which just, that was it. That opened the floodgates to Stalk and Slash. So independents and even mainstream cinema were bringing out, left, right and centre, murder, mystery, whodunits with knives and a body count picture. And we love them, don't we? No, we love them. We do. I don't. Yes, you do. Quite a good photo spread there, really. You've got like a lot of the shower sequences there. Plus Hitch himself directing Janet Leigh. Janet Leigh, of course, being the mother of Jamie Lee Curtis. And who's the dad? It's Tony Curtis. Yes. Antoninus from Spartacus. A lot of us's going on there. But it covers all the sequels. What I've noticed, you'll talk about the classic movies in this and give a big write-up how they were conceived and made, directed, produced, why they cast certain people, and the development of that, the sensorial problems these films had, which they pretty much all have had. And then you go on to the franchise, because a lot of these films did spawn sequels and prequels and sidequels and reboots and blah 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 bloody blah 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 blah. It covers all of those brilliantly. So Psycho 2, which is one of the best franchise sequels that there is. I've been meaning to do a video on the best sequels ever made, in my opinion, obviously. And part of me thinks I may have already done that, but Psycho 2 is definitely up there. I love the film Psycho. It's an absolute classic. But I more often will watch Psycho 2. I like Psycho 3 as well, but I find Psycho 3 quite, I don't know, I don't have quite the same sense of fun and mystery about that, because you know Norman's back to being, he's a maniac again. He's gone completely psycho. And you've also got the nun who tries to commit suicide, which blows his mind and changes his worldview. But I do like it. But I think Psycho 2 is the better film all round. It's got a great atmosphere to it. Oodles of, I say oodles of gore. There is some gore to it. Fabulous Jerry Goldsmith score. And it just is fantastic. Norman Bates, Anthony Perkins is outstanding in it, because you really do feel for him. And he's repaired himself, but people are conspiring to make him go mad again so that they can get him done again, because he wants revenge. And it's just a clever concept. So, Psycho 2, awesome. We're going through this. Oh, it goes on to the Bates Motel TV show. Never watched, by the way, never watched. Please comment below, let me know. I already know. I've got mates who actually adore that show, but I've got other mates who say, Dad, don't bother with it. So I don't know. Me and TV shows don't get along that well. I've got to be hooked straight away and stay with it. And long-running things, I have a big bad problem with. I like just one season, a complete story, and then done, Anyway, funny enough, Chapter 2 takes in Crystal Lake and Jason Voorhees. He's here somewhere. There he is, there, right there. Now, a bit confused about that, because if you're doing it in chronological order, Halloween came out before this. But anyway, and there he is. Whoa! So we're going to go through all the original movie, the 3D version. The axe to the face there, the throat slitting against the tree. You're all doomed. You're doomed. Tom Savini, who did the effects, pulling the same face as the young Jason Voorhees. Got the mask of that. I had a bit of a dilemma. I thought, throw a few masks out, but I thought, if I'm going to use all the Stalk and Slash movie masks, which obviously takes in Halloween, and I've got pretty much all the Halloween masks, there'll be no room for anything else. So, anyway. But the gore is great. Kevin Bacon, of course, got the arrow up through the air, the camp bed, the bunk bed, up through his throat. And famously, the critics all thought, did they really kill that kid? It was so convincing. I always think that in the burning which Thomas Savini made after Friday the 13th, he turned down Friday the 13th Part 2. Oh, by the way, it's Friday the 13th playing right now. He turned down that to do the burning instead. Now, I love the burning, and I've covered the burning as well. Now, that bit before I showed you where the shears go into the guy's throat, and he's lying there, and he's actually standing vertically up, and the camera's just tilted to make it look like he's on the raft lying down, having fallen down. So it's his real head, and then appliance and fake body all the way down. That's nowhere near as convincing as what he did for Kevin Bacon a couple of years before for Friday the 13th. Because that does look good, but the arrow comes up and then twists around and he's gulping up blood, blood's gushing everywhere. It's great effect, good shock effect. But in the burning, there's something, I'm not sure what it is, whether it's the angle that he filmed it at, or just the way the appliance fits, the way his chin juts out. It doesn't look anatomically correct. Look, we can be picky about this because these films are now, with the advent of Terrifier, yes, and that comes into this as well, I'm sure it does. With Terrifier, which I've covered the Terrifier movies, they take it to a whole new degree. They've embraced all that we love about Stalk and Slash and Slasher Pics and Maniac movies and the OTT excessive 80s gore. I'm going to hold nothing back, says the maker of Terrifier. I'm going to show everything. I'm going to just do exactly what everybody wanted to see. No holds barred. And I'm going to make it last for minutes and minutes and minutes. And I'm really going to show everything and the suffering of the victim. Oh my God. So, we're going to talk about gore, and the gore is an essential quality of slasher pics because slash implies, I'm not saying you have to have gore to make a frightening movie. You do not. But like Halloween is the big case in point. We'll come on to that in a minute. There's a head in the fridge from the opening of Friday the 13th Part 2, which I love. I love the sackcloth on Jason. I think it works brilliantly. It's Friday the 13th Part 3. There's about to be an eyeball popping out there. There's a head squishing. Great Tom Savini effect from Friday the 13th Part 4, where he falls onto the machete. The figure from that one is right there, by the way. But brilliant stuff. We go on to all the others, and I'm not going to go too much into the movies because they're just not that good. You can have fun with the likes of Jason Lives and Jason Takes Manhattan, when the guy's punching him and giving it loads, and he just goes bam, punches the guy's head right off and it lands in a trash can as well. It's Jason X, where Jason went to space. I know Pinhead went to space as well, but I far more enjoy Jason X. Although I'll be honest, when it first come out, I thought, oh, this is going to be shit. And lo and behold, it is. But it's also very enjoyable shit. And the kills are pretty good. The frozen face getting smashed out. It's fantastic. And but I watched it again. Well, not recently, but the last time I watched it, I was dead looking forward to it. I thought, I'll have a lot of fun with this. It really didn't sit that well. It was just meh. I think because the production values are a bit crap. Had you just been in a forest, Camp Crystal Lake, or a tenement block, it would have worked better. Although it's hardly going to be Jason X. Horror, terror gets a reboot, and he's all he's Terminatorized with chrome hockey mask and I don't know, other bits and bobs attributed to him. But the spaceship itself looked cheap, and that really sort of destroyed it. Then he met Freddy, didn't he? Jason versus Freddy, you can see that there. Remade, of course, and we are now awaiting another reboot, reimagining, remake of Friday the 13th. That is coming. And stop me if I've got this the wrong way round. I'll be getting a new movie reboot and a TV series which is based on his mum. I know, it's a prequel leading up to, what happens in Friday the 13th Part 1. And it's Pamela Voorhees, it's her story. We fucking need that. Do we fucking need Pamela Voorhees' story? Can you not leave anything to the imagination? Why have you got to... Are we going to find out about the father? Well, I bet you do. The father of Jason. That's what's going to happen, isn't it? And all of, the camp counselors at the time. I think the makers of this TV show have said, if I remember rightly, he said, don't worry, Jason will be in this. So whether you've got the backstory of Pamela Voorhees and you've got flash forwards, say, to what Jason does, maybe, I don't know, someone who slighted Pamela before she gets her head side off at the end of the first movie. Maybe someone who slighted her that she didn't get her own back on. Jason later on does, because it might explain more of like Jason's supernatural abilities and maybe a psychic connection. His mum beyond the grave, although he's from beyond the grave as well. So why does his mum come back then? Jason's lost body parts before. Shot, blown up, not just blown. Hit by vehicles, knocked off buildings. He's drowned a few times, hasn't he? You know, been set on fire loads of times. So, I mean, a poultry head lopping, that's all she got. Surely she could come back from that. I don't know. Friday's final girl. What's her name? I forgot her name now. And it's Brycey interviews Adrienne King, the talented actress, artist and entrepreneur who starred in the original Friday the 13th, 1980, but only returned for a cameo in the sequel because she was being stalked by an obsessive fan. Yes, and there she is. Oh. Lovely lady. That's how she looked. So, the night he came home. Do we really need to talk about this? No, we do not. We don't, do we? Halloween, groundbreaker. The Babysitter Murders became Halloween, and because you changed the title suddenly, it's set on Halloween. Well, we can bring in Trick or Treat. We can bring in Samhain. We can bring in the Druids. We can bring in everything. It's the bogeyman, you know? Ooh, the bogeyman, the bogeyman, the bogeyman. The boogeyman's going to get you. Don't know if you can see this, but they've got the daylight stalking where he's just standing there. Don't know if you can see, but he's wearing, what is it? Olive green drab coveralls. Not blue. They're not blue. First two movies, they are green. I know. I have them. There he is. Cheeky little chap, wasn't he? My favourite image from Halloween, the first movie, atop the stairs. It's iconic. He just stands there and you're like, oh, shit! And then, no need to run. Well, he doesn't need to run. You do, but keep on running. Because, you know, he will not run. He will only walk. And as we get to Halloween 2, he walks even slower. But I'll be honest, the descent of those stairs there, when Laurie gets into the kitchen and all that, he takes his time getting down them stairs. But he hasn't got a need to rush, has he? He will catch up with you. Lots of behind the scenes pictures too. I know you can't really see a lot of this. But there's our boy. Arguably as crazy as Michael Myers. Michael Myers, the name Michael Myers. You know where that came from, don't you? You know. I mean, you all know where State Plissken came from. It was someone in high school with John Carpenter. But Michael Myers was the guy that approved Assault on Precinct 13 to be shown in the UK, which is where its cult status, and of course, not his first movie, but his first major movie, the John Carpenter Assault on Precinct 13, got its legs and got great critical praise. So to say thanks, he made an iconic serial killer, supernatural bogeyman maniac. He named him after the guy that put John Carpenter on the map. Dick Warlock, there, I should say. I'll try and get that in without the bloody ring light. Because I love this guy. Kurt Russell's stunt double, and he's the guy that wore the mask for Halloween 2. And because his face is a different shape than Nick Castle, it's the same mask from the first movie, but you know, a couple of years of wear and tear and like sitting under the bed of Deborah Hill, producer of the original Halloween, who was chain smoking, a bit like Carpenter himself. So even if he kept it, the mask wouldn't have been improved. It's more discoloured and more damaged. And Nick Castle in the first one had a face like a horse, so it was longer. Nick Castle puts it on, it's fatter. And I have said so many times now that I prefer the look of Michael Myers in Halloween 2 than I do in the first one. I just like that. I don't know why it is. I just do. I think it's more frightening. And you see his eyes a lot more in Halloween 2 through the mask. And that itself is also more frightening. So anyway, let's... Halloween 3. Halloween 3's popped in here. No, why would that be in here? well, it's part of the franchise, but it's not a slasher movie though, is it? It's a supernatural, occult drama with the sci-fi techno overtones. Oh, there he is, Conal Cochran, Dan O'Haley, one of my favourite villains ever. So we go on through all the other Halloween movies, for better or for worse, mainly worse. And we get to where we're up to now. Oh, Resurrection. Oh, sweet Jesus. Rob Zombie stuff. Again, I've said about I admire Rob Zombie for trying to do something different. I do, and I think there's power and resonance to both his movies, but with caveats. You know, the trailer trash characters really do great. The dialogue is fucking awful because it's fucking all the time, and it's just it just makes you feel which is, you know, that's probably his point. But when retelling a classic horror movie, which, you know, kids have watched and grown up with, and then to twist it, I understand why he does it. You can't just remake it, you've got to do something different. And only the last sort of half hour of his original Halloween, Rob Zombie's Halloween, is a direct remake of Halloween itself. But all the backstory to Michael Myers, I actually quite like a lot of that. There's some good stuff in there. And I also like that Michael Myers is now a towering 7'2", built like a brick shithouse maniac, because I find that frightening. I've said it a lot of times that although Nick Castle and Dick Warlock and the other people who've played him, you know, the relentless slow march after you, the fact that they aren't huge but they've still got a lot of strength to them is terrifying in itself. But there's something about a big hulking brute coming after you and smashing through doors and walls and still coming after you, which is relentlessly and at much greater speed. You're like, it's like a fucking rhinoceros coming at you. What are you going to do with that? Nothing. You can't even try and distract it with a bit of titillation because a rhino's already got the horn. Make excuses for me. I'm on medication. Painkillers. Which reminds me. The doc said you must drink 4 of these a day. Oh boy, I'm getting there. Right. So Halloween, and it comes on obviously to Halloween 2018, Halloween Kills, and there he is. Look at him. It's Leatherface. A frantic run through the Texas Badlands. Imelda Gonzalez. This one's for you, hon, because you live out there. Texas. The original movie is an unparalleled masterpiece. Ultra low budget, but ultra realistic because of that. Naturalistic, realistic acting, grungy, gnarly sets and effects, which are very minimal. Hardly any gore. The only bit of blood with a chainsaw going to someone is actually his chainsaw going to Leatherface's own leg when he falls over and drops it on his own leg. I know Franklin does get done in with the chainsaw, but it's in, you're looking from behind and it's in silhouette. It's still nasty, it doesn't really count though. But the film's relentlessly grim, yet really dark graveyard humour is so affecting and iconic. It is a funny film. Tobe Hooper always said that, you know, people didn't get the joke. It's a black comedy. Once you realise that, it doesn't lessen the effect, the pulverising effect and the intensity, but you do begin to see, oh, of course it is. It's a dysfunctional family, of course, and it's so stupidly hysterical in some places. You know, he's the best in town, you know, and grandpa's trying to hit her on the head and all that, and they've got to head over the rusty bucket. And, you know, he's broke the door again, you know. There's loads and loads of little comical asides. But they are wrapped up in an absolutely blood-curdling odyssey of the most harrowing, grueling nature. It's genius though, isn't it? And it's weird how growing up and watching Texas Chainsaw, because I had a Betamax cassette of that pretty much when it was released, and then everyone goes, "Oh, it's banned." Well, it wasn't banned. Everyone says this. It was never actually banned. It was reported a lot. It was removed from shelves, but it was never on that list, the DPP list. And it could be shown in London. It was shown at London Film Festival. I've said all this before, and I'm bound to get it all wrong now. Shown at London Film Festival, and it garnered a lot of obviously controversial response. Critics praised it, but audiences reviled it. Then some critics reviled it, but audiences in some places loved it. It's one of those kind of movies. Now it's recognised as a masterpiece, of course. But watching it as a kid, I began to watch that and The Hills of Eyes and Suspiria on a Saturday morning. They became Saturday morning movies for me. Even though they were nasty and grueling and frightening. But to me, I got kind of cosy with them. I know that sounds bizarre. And many people would say, you need professional help. I do. I do with my recording equipment. The Chainsaw 12. I know. The sunset behind. Oh wow, it's fantastic. Lots and lots of imagery from this, of course. Just one on a meat hook this time, not 3 on a meat hook. Again, when you watch it, you think, is that scene cut? Because of the way they filmed it. She lifted up, and you think there's a second or two missing. So in your head, you're thinking, because when you watch it again, everyone always said this, when you watch it the second time, you think, I'm watching a cut version. Because I remember there being more gore there. No. Great trick the movie makes, because you have imagined so much that watching it again, and now with your eyes wide open, because you were looking away the first time, eyes wide open now. There's no blood there. Oh, yeah, this is a cut version. No, it's not. Full version. So the Texas Chainsaw series, them pesky ring light. Now, again, like Halloween, like Friday the 13th, like pretty much most franchises, diminishing returns, cash-ins, and the MPAA and the BBFC stuck their oar in and just ruined any of these. So the only way to actually watch like the likes of Friday the 13th or even the Texas Chainsaw movies was to read Fangoria magazine, because that would show you all the gory bits which you weren't going to see in the finished movie or the released version of the movie. Now, I like Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. Big fan of that. Leatherface, Texas 3. No. It's got moments, but again, there's no gore. If the original screenplay, the original script had been done the way it was supposed to be, it would be unbelievably nasty. But no, it's not there. Then you got Viggo Mortensen and, oh Christ, who else is in it? In whatever version that is. I've forgotten. They're all blending into one. And, oh God, what's his name? Texan bloke. Matthew McConaughey, that's it. Then you get more versions. Then you get the remakes. The remake, which is Jessica Biel, which is brilliant, and the prequel, which is brilliant as well. Then you get Alexandra Daddario in Texas 3D, which is so stupid. And it's meant to be set in a one time period, and they've got mobile. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. She's amazingly gorgeous, but yeah, and there's a bit of gore in it. But no, the film is crap. Then you got what did you get after that? Leatherface, which was again the prequel, showing how Leatherface got to become Leatherface, but he didn't need it. It was like, I don't know, they had a bunch of like, what's that one where Christopher Guest and oh God, they go on the run. They're nutters on the run, and they have a great time in New York or somewhere. Like I forgot what it's called. And isn't Michael Keaton in it as well? Oh God, I forgot what it's called. But it's like that bunch of only they do a lot more killing, obviously. And then you got the one which came out this year, which was just Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What was that? What was that actually called? Texas Chainsaw Massacre from this year. I've reviewed it. Gory as hell. Shite as hell as well. So, and now you move on to, there he is, it's Pluto, Michael Berryman. The Hills of Eyes. God, I love this movie, and I have covered it. Wes Craven, after the controversy of Last House on the Left, a film which I notice is not in here, although I'm sure they must refer to it. It's not in there, or maybe it is later on, I don't know, but I haven't come across it. After that, rape, murder, and family revenge on the rapists and murderers sort of story. I can't stand it. I don't like it. I don't actually like torture porn, and I hate abuse of innocent people. Says the guy that likes Terrifier. I know, but I don't like some of that, and yet I love the effects, and it's the overall thing. But the grime and the grit of Last House on the Left is so repulsive and repugnant that I can't stand it. Although I do like the dream sequence that, what's his name? Weasel? Rat? Whatever his name. And with the big teeth. And he dreams that the mother puts a hammer and chisel on his big bloody teeth and smashes the hammer down, and but the cut is amazing. And he wakes up, oh, Jesus. Actually, he gets his cock bitten off, but you know, I don't like the movie. I've seen it once, I'll never see it again. And the remake can go suck balls as well, as far as I'm concerned. Not interested. But I love The Hills of Eyes. There's another imagery, another poster there. There's, what's his name, James Whitmore, is it? As Papa Jupiter. Papa Jupe. Of course, Dee Wallace was in this. He would go on to be in E.T., The Howling, Cujo, and many, many other genre movies afterwards. The Carter family, on their way to California, stray stupidly into the desert, try to avoid a jackrabbit going across the dusty road, and then blow an axle, and then get stuck in the domain of what Wes Craven was doing. This was like his version of the Sawney Bean legend from the Scottish Highlands of this cannibal family, which grew to immense proportions with kids and grandkids and great-grandkids, all of whom were vicious murderers and cannibals, luring people in and waylaying travellers and butchering them savagely. They were all caught, and the revenge on them was equally as shocking as what they did to their victims, but the executions and the torture they underwent. But they fucking deserved it. And that's Wes Craven's retelling. He tried for a long time to make other movies, not horror movies. Didn't want to be labelled as a horror movie maker. But in the end, he was lured back. Well, make this. Oh, God, all right. Well, I've got an idea for something. And then they did a bloody sequel, didn't they? Hills of Eyes Part 2 with The Reaper. And the surviving German Shepherd dog, the two German Shepherd dogs, Beauty and Beast in the first movie. Beast survives. And Beast has flashbacks to killing Pluto. Although Pluto, Michael Berryman, is back for the sequel, because apparently he didn't die. And now they've got, is it the uncle, the Reaper, and they've got a bunch of motorcycling, off-road, dirt track, bloody speedway racing teenagers. It's crap. It's crap. And Wes Craven admits it's a load of bollocks. But anyway, and then you had the two remakes. Well, The Hills of Eyes got remade by Arja. What's his name? Alexandre Arja, who did Haute Tension, Switchblade Romance. Brilliant movie. And the first Hills of Eyes is absolutely fantastic. It's grueling. It ups the gore and the violence, but it ups the scope of it as well. We now learn that the mutants aren't just, one crazy kid that grew up to be a crazy man and then steals a whore from town and then rears a bunch of inbred, horrible, because of the bloodlines so saturated in bad DNA, they're all mutated slightly. But in the sequel, the remake, it's because these are the offshoots of miners that refuse to leave the villages they made during the atomic testing, You know, and they stayed there, and the radiation has mutated them over the years. So it makes sense, and it's really frightening, and it's really nasty. It delivers on all counts. I love it. And then he made a sequel to it, which again is nastier even more. But it's a bunch of National Guardsmen who are out there, including, is it a survivor of the first thing? Can't remember now. Because the sequel, as nasty and as enjoyable as it might be, it's really a load of bullshit as well. And I haven't really revisited it much. But anyway, there you go. Right, there's chapter 6, Baying for Blood. Now, I'm going to presume, looking at that picture right there, that this is, of course, Mario Bava's Bay of Blood, which was itself the progenitor for Friday the 13th and the body count pictures, and itself is a gory reinterpretation of 10 Little Indians. It's a whodunit as well, but an inheritance goes horribly wrong. Oh, hang on. I thought it was going to be about that. Let's see. Oh, no. This chapter is actually about, conceived in the 1970s, Giallo, Italian for yellow, takes its name from the yellow covers of sensational mystery novels popular in Italy at the time, from Mario Bava to Dario Argento and beyond. John Martin, who is the demigod of Italian stuff, John Martin traces the American slasher's Italian lineage. So, I want to play. Oh, is this Four Flies on Grey Velvet? I think it might be. But, so lots of great poster artwork for a lot of the Italian slashers there, and mystery whodunits, all with a sort of grisly element to them. Black gloved killers, masked, or with leather trilbies pulled down, and raincoats with the hoods up and all that. Orgasmo. So sweet, so perverse. Look at this. I'll be honest, I hate the way, or what I will say right now is I admire it, but putting the Italian titles on, a lot of the more obscure ones, I don't know what they are. Well, I know what the films are, but if I saw the English title, but... Oh, look. Oh, you don't want to be on the receiving end of that. Look at this. It's great, isn't it? I mean, that's a great face by setting. That's from Bay of Blood. You see that? A massive cleaver, machete's gone right through his face. That's actually better. That's a better effect, and that's earlier than the axe through the face in Friday the 13th that Tom Savini did. Oh, and there's a bit of deep red for you there. Profondo Rosso. That must surely get a chapter of its own. Season's Grievings. So, presumably, Simon Fitzjohn looks at the making of Bob Clark's Black Christmas, 74, again predating Halloween, a classic early slasher movie that went on to find cult success and inspired 2 lesser remakes. Two remakes? I've got the big gory remake of it. This was Margot Kidder and the phone calls. They find there's a killer, obviously, and she's getting all these threatening phone calls in the sorority house, and the police finally track her down. We've tapped those calls. They're coming from inside the house. Ooh, shit. I know, you've seen that before, but it was kind of done here first. Because then you've got When a Stranger Calls and When a Stranger Calls Again, which are actually decent movies, which might be mentioned in here as well, I don't know. But the famous image of the girl who's had like a plastic bag over her face and just suffocated. Not a nice way to go. Margot Kidder's fantastic in it. Loads of tension when you realise he's in there, and also the shock revelation who the killer is. Fantastic. Bob Clark went on to do the Porky's movies. You know, one extreme to the other, but they always say horror and comedy, the 2 hardest things to do. If you can make people laugh, that's the ultimate gift. If you can make people scream, that's the ultimate gift. You can gross them out, and you can just show endless slapstick, and people just roll their eyes and yawn. But to get the atmosphere and make it work, that's where it comes into its fore. So that's why they're the 2 hardest genres to work in. And he went and picked them both. Lots of gory pictures abound in this. So there was 2 remakes, he said. Sorry, I'm trying to find the remakes. Silent Night, Evil Night, if I had to catch on with American. I don't know. Stranger in the House. I don't know about the. Sorry, I'm trying to find. I know about the remake which came out sort of like 2012, something like that, which is gory as hell, but it really is a crap in that movie. But I don't know about the other one he's on about. I'll have to read it. By sword, by pick, by axe, bye bye. Not the kebab you were after there, is it really? You know. Happy birthday to me. Oh, this is covering. What's this covering? The slasher film genre really took off in the 1980s, and cinemas and video shelves were crammed with psychotic killer thrillers. John Towson looks at some that may have been forgotten in the rush for box office profits. So you got Terror Eyes, which had Rachel Ward in it. It's rubbish. And a motorcycle helmeted, machete-wielding killer. It looks dead gory on that. I've got that video cover as well. I've got that video release. And I thought the film was crap. The Prowler, a.k.a. Rosemary's Killer. I think I've covered this as well. I think I have. This is a great Tom Savini gore movie. Heads exploding, pitchfork deaths, a bayonet through the head. Oh my god. A throat slitting in a swimming pool where the actual throat gets slashed with a bayonet underwater. Oh, it's great. Great effects. It was cut in the UK, albeit slightly. I think the pitchfork bits and the extra seconds of being pushed through were always cut down. But it's now uncut anyway. All these films are now uncut in pretty much every territory. Madman. That wasn't too bad. What was his name? Madman. Not Madman Voorhees. What was his name? Sorry, I'm trying to read this. Oh, what's his bloody name? And he was a big deformed dude. He's about 8 feet tall. Madman Mars, that's it. Which kind of reminds you a bit of Hills of Eyes, where the kids are named after the planets. You got Mars, Pluto, and Mercury. Mercury in Hills of Eyes was actually the producer of the film, Peter Locke, who had a little bit of a bit part in it. Probably a cost-cutting thing. And he gets catapulted off the top of a cliff by the vengeful beast, the German Shepherd. Having lost his mate, Beauty, he goes on a big vengeance spree. Looking great. Death Valley, remembers that one? Not very good actually, gotta be honest. The House on Sorority Road, Bloody Birthday, Blind Date. Blind Date? I don't even know that one. Not to be confused with Cilla Black, a TV romance show, Blind Date. Or the 1989 Bruce Willis Kim Basinger rom-com. This is actually a little known Nico Masterakis film from 1983. Now he's the guy that did Island of Death, where a guy is choked or drowned with paint being gushed down him. There's also goat sex. That's not 2 goats getting on. That's a man getting on with a goat on a Greek hand. It's not very good at all. And to be very honest, I'm not interested in this movie either. Seminal slashers. Oh, we are. I just said about the bayonet through the head in the Prowler. That's it there. Can you see that? Alan Bryce brings you a rundown of the most famous and influential stalker slash movies. Not all of them classics, but every one memorable in its own way. So let's see. Right, this does appear to be an alphabetical rundown. April Fool's Day, 86. A Bay of Blood, as I said before, 71. Black Christmas, 74. Blood and Black Lace, oh great, 65. Wonderful, wonderful movie. Bloody Moon, that's Jess Franco. Oh, that's the head getting side on one of them the bandsaw things. Oh my god. The Burning, covered that. Candyman. Alright. Well yeah, it is a slasher pick, isn't it? That's the original Candyman. Child's Play. Folks, gonna say right now, I'm going to say right now that I'm going to have some more whiskey. Stay. Stay. This is it. Last Night in Soho. Which has Giallo overtones. Perhaps a bit of a slasher theme, perhaps. But it's fantastic. And it is hugely referential to other genre movies. But it's also its own wicked delight. I'd recommend Last Night in Soho perfectly. It's fantastic. That's one for you, Steve. Steve 007 Smith. Loves this movie. He makes a pilgrimage, to the Toucan pub where a lot of this is set down in Soho. A child's play, Chucky the Doll. Folks, I know a lot of you guys love that movie and love the franchise. I got nothing out of it at all. I get the dolls are frightening. Oh my God, I get that. My mother has just died. Again, I'm not, and we've been clearing the house out, and we found a huge, oh great, now Suspiria comes on. This is truly sphincter tingling music, but I love it though. The music, not the sphincter tingling. We found this sort of display cabinet, and housed within all these little compartments with dolls. And it is a set, clearly it's a set. And they're realistic baby faces, but they're all in different poses. And they've all got like sort of these cherubic smiles and rosy cheeks. And like there was a few of us doing the clearances, and I said, "Do you want that?" And I went, "Why the fuck do you think I want that?" Well, you love all the horror stuff. You see, everyone equates dolls with horror now, not with childhood, charm, innocence and goodwill and great memories and nostalgia. No, dolls are now synonymous with horror. And I went, no, where the fuck would I want that? And it was on the floor, and there's about 12 dolls in this thing, all of which were horrific. I'm sure when they were bought at the time, probably about 50, 60, maybe much longer ago than that, that whoever received them first, maybe it was my mum's when she was a kid. I don't know. I don't know the backstory of it. Maybe they cherished them, but now we all of us standing around it, just looking down, just thought, burn this. And I'm not sure where that went. Because in all the hullabaloo of all the furniture removal and the tip runs and filling up white vans and stuff, we're going to charity shops as well. I'm not sure where that went. I hope no one snuck it into our car. And it is actually here. I don't know. Because there were some dolls there. And again, out of context. Out of context, they're purely innocent. But in context, because see how it's reversed. That's what we're saying. Dolls are now nasty. When they shouldn't be, they were always good. And now they're nasty. And yeah, they were frightening. But Chucky, as a movie, as a franchise, I've never really been bothered by it at all. I know, massive contradiction there. But I haven't been bothered. I know they can be very satirical, blackly comic, and very quite nasty as well. And everyone's buying. In this age of recession and austerity again and cost of living crisis, how the hell are you people affording to get them fucking life-size Chucky dolls, which are like 250 quid or more? How are you doing it? Do you know a witch? Is that what it is? But yeah, so Chucky. Oh, here's Profondo Rosso. Deep Red. Now, of course, if you know the film and you pay attention in the opening sequence, the opening murder sequence, and it's one of Dario Argento's great little tricks, the killer's there, and you see their, I'm not giving that away, you see their face reflected, and they're there for a good second, but in all the frenzy of what's happening, David Hemmings he does spot it, but it's got to be played back. It's clever, brilliant stuff. It's pure Giallo. What's that? Oh, you can see there. That's Alice, Sweet Alice, masked killer there. Someone's been knifed in the leg and the foot, falling down the stairs into a blood-drenched street in, is it New York? I'm not sure where it is. Alice, Sweet Alice was the first one with Brooke Shields. But Brooke Shields doesn't last long. She gets burnt alive in the church in the opening. But Alice is the sister of Brooke Shields' character. And she's getting the blame for all these murders taking place. This masked killer in a yellow raincoat. It is and it is very nasty. It was known that Alfred Soul made it, and it was made in the UK. It was called Communion, and I think I've still got the Betamax copy in its original casing as well. I think I have, but in America they renamed it Alice, Sweet Alice, because I think it's something to do. Well, obviously the film is very religious, very Catholic in its themes, and a lot of it's set in the church and all that. So I think Alfred Soul was saying something like, well, if we call it Communion, we're going to turn off anyone who doesn't like religion is going to stay away. So we're just giving it too much Catholic overtones, so we'll call it that. Either way, it's a great big butcher knife through the neck, lots of dribbly blood, knives plunging into chests, lots of blood. And it's funny how I've just mentioned Deep Red. Deep Red has a teeth bashing sequence in it when that clockwork automated doll comes storming out with a knife in its hand. Remember? Oh my Christ. And then this guy gets his teeth repeatedly bashed out on the hard surfaces of every table in his room. Christ almighty. And in Communion, Alice, Sweet Alice, this guy gets trussed up and beaten and stabbed, and he bites off the medallion, the necklace, the pendant of the killer, who then demands it back and starts smashing his teeth in. Oh Christ. And then he gets hurled off this, it's like a high-rise warehouse, and he ends up sailing out of the air, this one of these big sort of slide door things, where they obviously hoist up, merchandise and what have you. And he lands on a bunch of broken bottles, and his head just goes boosh as these broken bottles. Oh, it's a big, protracted set-piece murder, and it's fucking horrible. What else have we got here? Oh, Vince Vaughn in that film Freaky, which was like the horror version of Freaky Friday. Never seen it. Oh, she's going to get her throat slashed Friday the 13th. I forgot what this chapter's about, actually. Is it just about everything? Intruder, that's a great... Did you see that there? Intruder, that's a great movie, that. That's non-stop blood and gore. Set in like a Walmart, a supermarket, and they're getting tracked down and wasted by a disgruntled ex-employee. I think it is anyway. But lots of, there's head squishings and burnings and slashings and all sorts of horrible stuff going on. But it's OTT and it's fun. There's Madman. Just Before Dawn. Oh, Jeff Lieberman, Just Before Dawn. The Kilt-Man, don't give away the twist ending. The Mad Mountain Man. You're already thinking something else there. And if you haven't seen the film, you're barking up the wrong tree. Guarantee you. But yeah, Mad Man. Horrible machete attacks up through someone's groin. Again, the city folk ignore the warnings and stray into a family's territory. Oops. America's fear of the backwoods and the home country dwelling folk is prevalent throughout 60s and 70s, 80s movies. Now America has a fear of not just the people in the backwoods and the rural areas, but of everybody within its borders. America fears everything in the world, but especially its own people. Movies, they do speak of the truth, and but it's a Just Before Dawn is a great movie. It's got a very unusual death in it as well. Very, very unusual. It's something that I wouldn't like to try. Even in self-defense, I wouldn't want to use, which is what it's being used as. I wouldn't want to do it. But I do recommend Just Before Dawn. It's Joe Spinell and Maniac. Bill Lustig's Maniac. Actually, I'm a big fan of that movie. It's a troubling film. Of course, it's Tom Savini did the effects for it. An abused child grows up to be an abusive psychotic loner played by Joe Spinell, and he goes out stalking women, killing them, and then scalping them and putting their scalps on mannequins in his apartment. And he also meets Caroline Munro. How the hell did that happen? And he's with it in 3 movies. He's with it in Star Crash, the sci-fi, I was going to say epic then, the sci-fi sleepic, which I love, by the way. And this, and then the last horror film, where again, because he's a fan of, she's a glamour, is she a glamour photographer or glamour model in this? I think she's a glamour photographer in Maniac. But in the rare moments when he's actually quite okay, he has the hots for her, and he has a burgeoning, Joe Spinell, come on, but a burgeoning romance with the awesomely gorgeous Caroline Munro. But she loved, in real life, the two of them got on so well. Now I think there was some kind of deal behind making Maniac with Bill Lustig, that it must have been to get distribution rights to sell it around the world, that the guy that Caroline Munro was married to at the time demanded she be in the movie, and off the back of that they got the last horror film as well, which he actually appears in as well, her husband at the time, I've forgotten his name now, he appeared in that. But Tom Savini did the effects for this, and there were women queuing. Yeah, you had blockbusters where fans queued around the block, but this was a film where protesters queued around the blocks. It was a protest blockbuster, where because it was so misogynistic and so nasty, violent. The strangulation scene, let alone the graphic long scalping that takes place afterwards, but the actual strangulation of this victim is really, really horrible. It's convincing. But I like the film a lot, and Savini's effects are fantastic. This is the one famously where Savini blows his own head off with a shotgun. Not for real, but the dummy that they used in Dawn of the Dead, he puts, because Savini, who's an actor as well, of course, as well as being a makeup maestro, plays a guy making out with a girl in a car, and our maniac jumps up on the bonnet. In America you say the hood, but on the bonnet we say here, of the car. And I'm playing Rob's score for Maniac, the remake, with Frodo playing the Maniac. People say I just throw these things together. No, that was sheer luck. But and I'll talk about it in a minute. But so Savini plays the guy making out with the girl. Then Joe Spinell's character jumps up on the bonnet of the car with a double-barreled shotgun, fires through the windshield and blows the Savini character's head apart. But in reality, it's Savini, who's also a stuntman as well. He leaps on the bonnet of the car and he fires the shotgun at the dummy from Dawn of the Dead with a fake version of his own Savini's head. So he blows his own head apart. Savini also said that after making this movie, after killing so many people in so many other movies in his career, he said, after this one, I never felt more like a murderer after this. And he wasn't referring to blowing his own head apart. He's referring to the scalpings and the other horrible murders that take place. Incredible movie. The remake's actually really good. In fact, it's very good, and there's a different slant on it. It's all told through the killer's eyes. It's all told through Frodo's eyes. And you only ever see the killer when he's reflected in like a mirror or a window or whatever. And it is gory, but it's nowhere near the level of the original movie. But it's still worth looking at though, folks. Oh shit, there's the... Look, there he is. Let's have a look at that. That's Savini. You probably can't make that out there. That's Savini on the bonnet of the car, about to fire the shotgun. There's a shotgun blast through. I don't think you can see, because what this film's famous for is the aftermath of the shotgun blast. So his head's gone on the inside, but all that remains are spewed all over the back of his seat and the windows and the rear window, and it's just all giblets and brain, and oh my god. Bill Lustig would go on to make Maniac Cop and its follow-ons, and Maniac Cop is right there. Robert the Tsar The man with the anvil like jawbone. You see him in Tango and Cash as well. But you broke that jaw. Maniac Cop's a great idea, but it's not as nasty as it should be. He's a great cop who gets set up, put in prison, and the inmates know who he is and slash him to bits. But he comes back from the grave as a zombified maniac cop. But he's killing anybody. He's killing innocent bystanders as well. And there's a great police station assault. He's walking a bit like the Terminator. What is it about us that we always love an attack on a police station? And we do. And I'm not being sort of anti-police here, but they're meant to be armed. They're meant to be able to defend themselves at the very least. Everyone there's got a gun. Well, everyone who's on the right side of the bars has got a gun. But he walks in there and he's throwing people about 40 foot through windows and doors and stuff like. But the rest of it, and the two sequels that followed, I always want to get back into it. I always think I should love Maniac Cop, and yet when I watch it I go, oh, because he's a great bad guy, a great villain, a great monster, but no. A lot of it's action. That's something that maybe that's where it falls apart. It's a horror film, but with car chases and action and shootouts, so it doesn't really have that overall atmosphere. Anyway, My Bloody Valentine. Oh, the original. Tom Behrman's effects. Fucking hell. A pickaxe up through the jaw and the axe part coming through, popping the eye out of somebody. Someone gets put in like a spin dryer on the full cycle for about 12 hours or something like that. And what just bubbles out is a melted mass. Oh, it's just incredible. The miner with the gas mask on, and the coveralls, and the mining helmet with the lamp on it. Fantastic. Love My Bloody Valentine. Actually remade pretty well. Those two guys from Supernatural, Padalecki and the other dude, one did the Friday the 13th remake, which wasn't very good, and one did this, which is infinitely better, in 3D as well. And you've got the longest 3D booby bouncing sequence ever. Well, it's a full throttle nude sequence, but the gore is great, and it's great good fun. I'll be honest, I like the remake to it a lot, but the original is by far the best. Dario Argento, Opera. Oh dear, oh dear. Yeah, Opera. 2 set pieces. The heroine's got the pins in her eyes, she's tied to like a pillar, and her boyfriend comes in and she's forced to watch him being butchered, and she can't even blink because she'll pierce her own eyes if she does, because these pins there, and she has to watch him get sliced up and carved about. And then you've got Daria Nicolodi, who was she married to Dario at the time? She probably still was. They were man and wife for a while. The killer knocks at her door. Silly bitch looks through the keyhole, doesn't she? The little spy hole thing. And he even shows her the gun. I've got a gun here. Look at this. Just like, and then the gun goes boosh, slow motion through the eye, back of the head. And off she goes. He showed you what he had. Why did he keep looking? Prom night. Oh, prom night shit. Leslie Nielsen's in that as well. But prom night, a load of garbage. Oh, I mentioned the Prowler, aka Rosemary's Killer, and the head blowing apart sequence. Well, there you go. There's the killer there. Oh, spoiler alert. There's the killer there. And then he manages to get his own head blown apart with his shotgun. Tom Savini again. Silent Night, Deadly Night. Yeah. I've got a piece of music from that here somewhere at some point. Yeah. Santa Claus. Axe-wielding Santa Claus. And we're entering that time of the year now. It's Christmas time, is fast approaching. So yeah, I'll be spinning that. It's some good going. I wouldn't say it's OTT, but it's okay. Sleepaway Camp. Never really a fan of that, to be honest. Slumber Party Massacre. Again, it's just obvious shit like. Can't remember it. I've got it as well. Slumber Party Massacre, but I don't remember anything about it. Tenebrae. Oh my god, Tenebrae. Translated as Terror Beyond Belief, Dario Argento. I have covered this movie a fair bit as well. The axe killing, the impaling, the fake throat slitting, but still looks really good. Wow, the double murder with the great Luoma crane camera shot swooping over a tenement apartment block, going up and up the side of it in a pissing down rain with all neon blue and red and all that. Goes up and over, follows the gutters, goes over the tiled rooftop, comes down the other side and goes in through a window on the other side to encounter two lesbians who are about to be sliced and diced. Fantastic film. Anthony Franciosa, an axe to the head, which he goes, and then as he falls, he takes it out of his own head, with the big gash there, but you feel it. John Saxon's in there as well, the great John Saxon. Tenebrae, absolutely awesome movie. And some great shocks as well. You'd have to be a complete idiot not to realise, almost from the word go, who the killer is. But I don't care about that. It was Argento pushing the sort of, it was a very modern Giallo, a very modern film. 81 it was made. And it has that hyper real thrust and momentum. And the music, Claudio Simonetti, the music is incredible. Goblin, of course. In fact, I've got it here. Where is it? Oh, listen, I haven't changed anything. It's on next. So you've got synth and craziness going on. Some wonderful tracks on it. It's a powerful movie. Again, is it horror? It's a slasher pick. There's lots of killings in it and revelations. But like Deep Red, like a lot of Argento's movies, earlier movies, a lot of his movies, they are really just thrillers, but the stylistic design and the gore moves it, ushers it slightly into the horror spectrum. But either way, awesome. Oh god, there's the axe killing. Oh dear god. And when you watch it even now, she's sitting there, obviously the fake arm with the gun, to try and get in the frame here. Argento be going mad. My frame, get in my frame. Only be saying it in Italian. And the axe hits the window during a huge ferocious downpour. He says, realising there's a huge ferocious downpour right now and a window right there. Haven't got a gun in my hand now, have I? And then the axe hits again, comes through, hits the arm, severs a very fake looking arm, I'll be honest, but the blood that gushes out. But it's when she stands up and redecorates the white wall behind her with all this crimson all the way across. And it's paralysing. And then she turns around and you're going, have they cut her arm off? Like Kevin Bacon, have they really shoved an arrow through his throat? Have they really cut her arm off? And then she gets hacked up with an axe. Oh, God almighty. It's an amazing sequence. Torso with Susie Kendall. That was an earlier one. There's a bit of gore in that. A lot of boobies in it as well. Urban Legend. I've got the Urban Legend box set, which was released probably about a year ago, maybe a bit longer, with all art cards and posters and all that. You know what? It's still wrapped up in a cellophane. I thought, I'll have that. Because you had, at the time, was it Urban Legend, and I know we did last summer, and obviously Scream will come on to that. That's definitely here. I've seen it. But Urban Legend, I always thought, the first one was really good. And then the second one, Bloody Mary, or whatever it was. And then the third one, whatever that, I can't even remember this now. And yet, I've not opened it again, I've not revisited it, so why did I buy that? It comes to the age now when I've got to stop doing shit like that, buying things just for the sake of buying it. Oh, I like that, I'll have that. I've got to learn not to do that now, can't afford it. Genuinely can't afford it. But Urban Legend, the first one, I did enjoy. Does it go on the other ones? Oh. Torso, Urban Legend. Oh, this is Alan Bryce coming through alphabetically. I forget. Oh, we are. Visiting Hours with Michael Ironside and Oh, what's her name? Oh God, I forgot her name now. The main star of it. And you've got William Shatner in there as well, eating ice cream. He's a police detective, and he spends all his time just eating ice cream. I reviewed this movie. Go back. Like a lot of these films, I reviewed them, but this is a film that no one ever talks about, apart from me and Alan Bryce, obviously. And I gave a massive review for this movie, and I like it a lot. It's not as nasty as people think. Just trying to think, who's the woman in it? Lee Grant from Damien Omen 2. Michael Ironside's face. He always pulls those wacky faces. This sounds awful because I think I rate him a lot higher than this, but he has been sort of classed as the poor man's Jack Nicholson because he's not an A-list actor like Jack Nicholson, but he does look like Jack Nicholson, and the two of them can play mad, crazy bastards equally as well. In fact, no, I'd say Michael Ironside's probably better and more consistent at it. Oh look, it's the man of your dreams. It's all Mr. K. Mr. Kruger, get ready for Freddy. 9, 10, never sleep again. Brian J. Robb casts a wakeful eye over Wes Craven's Elm Street nightmares. Now again, oh look, it's just, the first one is bloody-nificent. Hang on a minute. It's over there. Courtesy of Steve W. Smith, a lovely, fantastic, original poster artwork on canvas. Great makeup, great design, great idea. People being killed in their sleep by a dream demon. It's genius. Absolutely love the movie. Heather Langenkamp, young Johnny Depp. John Saxon again, John Saxon is in there. Some good gore. It's still cut down. You notice Tina's death is still slightly cut. To get hold of that, I think you've got to get hold of the original VHS for that. I think. And I've got the original. I've shown you. I've actually got the original Betamax copy when it first ever came out in the small little CBS Fox. Movies in a box from CBS Fox casing. And it's just a dream, but I can't play it though. But there's more gore in the original bit where he slashes her back and she goes, her stomach and she goes, and it all oozes out. Another great shot there, very tantalising. I've shown you on video before, but I've got a really fantastic custom-made Freddy glove from the first movie. Well, I say custom-made. I found it in like this emporium, this bizarre emporium, which had statues and mannequins and old ploughing tools and fishermen's tools, and I got a lot of what you could term as weaponry. Think The Fog and think what's it called now? Oh no, Dead and Buried, where they've got those hooks, the little wooden grip, and what they're meant to be do. You bring over the catch, you haul over the nets, or you haul over the big fish which you've just caught, bring it onto the deck. Or if you're in the field using it, or the warehouses, it's to bring in all the sacks of grain and coffee and chocolate and what have you, cocoa. But it's also in horror movies. But I got that glove there, and I said to the guy who owned the place, I said, like, where did you get that? And he went, oh, I don't know, we got a load of stuff and that came in. I said, mate, that's fantastic. I probably said too much. How much for that? It probably was like, it was only £2.50. It's £50. I'm not even sure how much I paid for it now, but didn't spend a lot of money there, I'll be honest. But my God, that glove is fabulous, really fabulous. And it's got blood all over it as well, blood spatterings. Looks amazing. Whoever made that really did a grand job of it. So, yeah, Freddy is awesome. The movies after that, Freddy's Revenge. I liked the effect of it. The claws were coming out of his fingers in that one, rather than a glove. But beyond that, not very good. Dream Warriors, everyone loves Dream Warriors. I think it's okay. But from that point onwards, Freddy becomes the star, and he's not the bad guy. He's the main hero, the main villain, but he's also the main comedy relief. It's just one-liner, bazinga, bazaars, I'll get me coat. it's just, and that becomes the worst thing about all the movies after that. They may have elements I like. Part 4 had the poor girl in the Roach Motel turning into a horribly, she gets the legs of a cockroach, doesn't she? And then he finally just crushes the box or something, or whatever he does. But, oh dear God. The Dream Child, bullshit. The Final Nightmare, equally crap. Wes Craven's New Nightmare, great idea. Great idea. The whole thing was, they were just movies and everyone's playing themselves. But so Freddy doesn't want to be killed off in the movies. So he manages to break the fourth wall and come out and attack them. And it's a great idea, but it does descend into a bit of like he wants the child, and there's the whole hospital thing, and escape from hospital running across the roads. And you just go, oh, what the hell, you know? But he has quite a very demonic look, as you can see there. You can see that. It's a revamped look for Freddy. Anyway, and of course Wes Craven's in it as well, and Robert Englund playing Robert Englund, who played Freddy Krueger. And that's a nice bit though, because you don't quite trust him, because Robert Englund has, even without the makeup on, he's got the face of a goblin. And you're like, you really? I know you were Freddy in V, you were the nice alien, but you're still a devil's goblin imp, aren't you? Can I trust you? Scream for your life. Okay, I'm going to be honest here as well. I love a lot of the first Scream until the big reveal. I've got a Scooby-Doo toy somewhere around there. Scooby-Doo is there somewhere in the background. The unmasking, the genre referencing that Wes Craven does. He did hit a zeitgeist here. He hit the genre right when it needed to be hit, and he zapped it with the impetus and an injection of testosterone, which it needed. But it still isn't the kind of movie that I can go, oh, I love Scream, because I don't. The opening murder, oh my Christ, Drew Barrymore, fuck me. Now that is unbelievably good. And some of the murders are quite effective as well. But overall, because it's just, and it's not just one killer, it's like, it's so preposterous and OTT that I really can't get behind it. Scream 2, Scream 3, Scream 4, Scream 5, or what is it, Scream, all have their moments. But again, it's always the denouement. I can use them big words too, you know, denouement. It's always the denouement which lets it down, the unmasking, the unveiling. I know the new one tried to do something slightly different, but no. Wes was fabulous with the likes of Hills of Eyes and Nightmare on Elm Street, obviously, and the first Scream. I really breaks the mold of what you expect, subverts it all. But again, as I say, I just can't get behind the unmasking and the actual killers and how convoluted and stupid and really how impossible these plots are. And then they're also not quite as gory as you think they're going to be. I know the first one definitely had its moment. That opening bit definitely is. You go, oh, Jesus Christ. But no. And of course it pays huge, massive nod at the head to Black Christmas with the phone calls and all that. So, but Ghostface, yeah, I mean, yeah. I not like the Chucky movies. I acknowledge the power these films have and the fan base for them. I can only speak for myself, so I'm not knocking anyone who enjoys them, but I've got my reasons for not really being totally on board. I like the fact they exist. There you go. Yeah, so lots of pictures from it. Lots of pictures from the Screamy movies. In fact, there's a hell of a lot. This must go on quite a bit because a lot of movies, isn't there? And they are big. They are huge. And we've got another one coming, haven't we? Scream 6. And these are the guys, Radio Silence, that want to do Escape from New York or Escape from Earth with Kurt Russell. There's still more news filtering in about that. I did a video on this the other day, and I would love to see. Well, God, why go over all this again? Kurt Russell, come back as Snake, and I'm there. Your son Wyatt's not doing it. There's people saying, "Oh, it's Wyatt Russell doing that." No, it isn't. He's not doing it. And as far as I'm concerned, this is still not set in stone. So, you know, but if it happens, and they're not coming to me to play Snake, Kurt, can only be Kurt. Don't use someone else. Won't work. Right. So, there's more chapters. So we've done Scream, Holidays, and the slasher film. Oh yeah, because you get like New Year's Evil, Mother's Day, and all that kind of stuff. So let's have a look. From New Year's Evil to Black Christmas, any Magnotta celebrates Days to Die For. Right, what have we got? Halloween, obviously. Halloween. To All a Good Night. Again, Joan Collins being menaced by the psycho in a Santa suit from Tales from the Crypt. Still one of the best savage Santa stories ever. Friday the 13th, of course. Jesus. Mother's Day. Prom Night. Terror Train. What's the date of Terror Train? What's that about? God, I can't remember what it is now. I can't be arsed reading it either. Terror Train. What's the events of Terror Train? Is it graduation? It's that, isn't it? Oh, I don't know. Christmas Evil. Final Exam. Home Sweet Home. Bloody Birthday. Trick or Treats. Hell Night. The Dawn of Drip Blood. Again, you know, a lot of high school stuff. More machetes in people's faces. Can you see that? Move that ring light, Kilt-Man. Machete or axe in the head. That's a machete. Blood Rage, Slaughter High, Don't Open Till Christmas, Sweet 16, Class Reunion, Hack-O-Lantern, Happy Hell Night, Nightmare Beach, Santa Claus, Jack Frost, Jack O. A lot of Jacks, isn't there? Jack Shit. Valentine. Easter Bunny Kill. Never heard of it. Halloween Night, The Pumpkin Carver. Sorry, I know I'm reading these out like, but you can't see it. April Fool's Day. All Hallows Eve. The Funhouse Massacre. Haunt. I mean, again, a lot of these I don't really know. Oh, we are. Here's Art the Clown. Terrifier. There he is. So this is like the last slice. So, like a final sort of word on the whole genre. But folks, although you've just been through the entire book with me, there's a lot to read in there as well. A lot of opinion, a lot of critique, and a great overview. Folks, that is Stalking Pictures, the Dark Side Guide to Slasher Movies. There it is. There it is. It is, I'm not sure, it's from Ghoulish Publishing. I'm not sure how much it actually is. Mainly because I didn't buy it, did I? Let's have a look. Well, all the others appear to be £22.50. 22 English pounds and 50 English pence. But it's worth it. I love it. Astradyne, mate, thanks very much. That's brilliant. And with all the other ones as well, it's fabulous stuff. I'm made up with it. Long live the slasher genre. Stalk and slash, hack and slash, you know, your Maniac pictures. And as you can see there, there's quite a few variants on the theme, you know. Things like The Hills of Eyes and Chainsaw Massacre. They're more like the survivalist horror, but people are being picked off one by one, so, you know, it fits the bill. So, from you guys, I want to know a couple of things. What's your favourite slasher pick? Go on, let's do that old chestnut. What's your favourite slasher pick? And what else? What else can we ask? What else can you? What other homework can I give you? Think of the earliest examples of what you would term as a slasher pick. So as I say, there are stuff from probably from the 20s, but certainly from the 30s and 40s, which fit the bill. People being picked off one by one by an unknown, possibly masked killer, and they're stuck in an isolated place. There may be a bit of police procedural taking place as well, but they fit the format of the stalk and slash. So think of some. What's your favourite, and then think of some early examples that we can all go now. Oh, have a little look at and go. Oh yeah, right, yeah. That's been influential. There's elements there which have been lifted into the likes of Psycho, and then into the likes of the Italian Giallo, which have then gone into the nastier American independent versions, and then the completely excessive 80s gaudiness. And now, which of course now we're revisiting the 80s like they never went away. Everything that's coming out now is an offshoot of an 80s movie, a remake, whether it be a TV series, a prequel, a sequel, a reboot, a reimagining. It's 80s. Just give me 80s stuff. That's what seems to be happening. So, anyway, cheers, y'all. Wow, this was new yesterday. It's going down, something chronic. But because of that, I haven't yelped once. He says, leaning down to put it down again. And that's always the dangerous part, when you get sudden, you pivot or you move down or you move up again, and that's when he goes, oh, and he goes, hey, I'm here. Folks, I know we shall be Kilt-Man. Please, in the meantime, as ever, stalking, slashing, hacking and dicing. In between time, please keep it Celtic, and I am going to see you all laters. And I'm just going to stalk off for a quick slash.